Speaking of main events, our
Let's
main
get
event
into
tonight,
it.
Darby Allin has been main eventing Dynamite pretty consistent over the last few months, and probably not for long after this one. But it was, regardless of me not necessarily being on the Darby train, I think, Bond said it really well. This was wrestled so well by Darby. This started off everything I wanted, just complete squash, 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 whoop down, beat down, beat down, beat down. But when Darby did get some of his offense, it was impressive on a big guy like Miro. So I got to give the props to that. But like we've said, an angry Miro is a scary Miro and one that's not going to be stopped.
The best Miro.
It is. You're right.
Love it.
So real quick before we dive into the match, like, who would you rather face, an angry Miro or an angry Pac?
Oh, dude. I guess I would pick Pac just because I'm a fanboy of Pac, and I would love to, if I can get my ass kicked by any professional wrestler, I guess I would pick him because he's my favorite. So, but Miro was, that match earlier in the night, OC versus Pac, was an absolute beating, a beatdown. Miro took it to another level tonight, and I thought that it was really fitting, and this is what I loved about the way the match started. Darby's promo was great as always. His segments where he does these cinematic moments are very well done, but this one was really disrespectful to Miro. It quite honestly, it was, and you could tell it pissed Miro off on another level. Throughout the match, Miro kept saying, "Am I underwhelming? Am I underwhelming?" He kept, tell me, am I underwhelming? He would get so mad and, mean mugging the camera, getting in Darby's face. You could tell he was pissed, and he started the match before the bell rang. It felt like a good 5 minutes of just absolute beat down before the bell even rang. It felt like the match was long. The thing was longer before the bell rang than it was after the bell rang, didn't it? It felt like it was just
for sure.
It's just an absolute destruction by Miro, and that was exactly what we were calling for. SPD, you were kind of saying this should be like a Brody Lee, and rest in peace, but this should be like a Brody Lee versus Cody match where it was like 7 seconds, just an absolute jaw-dropping beatdown. It didn't play out that way. This was a longer fight. This was a match that extended, and it kind of played into Darby's spirit, and I felt that was important given all that we've seen Darby do, kind of his underdog nature. I felt like it was good. It was allowed his title reign to end in a compelling fashion, especially given the injury that he had and just what a size mismatch this was. But dude, this was absolutely dominating performance and compelling win as you could ever ask for from Miro. This dude, Miro, absolutely wrecked Darby in this match.
Did he ever? And I am so excited that they kept with the trend, and we did see some outside shenanigans which furthered the story, which is good. Like we said before, a quick segue for Darby into the Paige Sky feud is a perfect way for him to drop the belt to Miro and then have Miro's just have a complete dominant run. Like, I was so happy for this match, man. I was so happy for the beginning, whole crushing of it, and then just the end. I was hoping for a little bit more time of Miro just kind of celebrating, maybe doing a few more stomps on Darby, or just kind of really rubbing it in, and a good celebration of Miro. But we really didn't get to see that, unfortunately. But I'm sure
the match itself felt like a celebration for Miro. He just was enjoying every moment. Think about when he launched Darby over the barricade, and the crowd was chanting Darby, Darby, and Miro was just, come on, Darby, Darby. He come on. He was just playing he was just loving every moment. Brian's talking about it in the chat. He's watching it now. Brian's on the West Coast, and you could tell his jaws on the floor. This was a beating. Miro just absolutely wrecked Darby, and it was a great, there were moments where Darby had great moments of offense. I really enjoyed when he was on the outside and he locked in that sleeper and kind of was
Mm-hmm.
plugging Miro's nose. It was really smart.
Yeah, that was smart. Yeah.
You don't see that a lot. Like that was just one of those little things, a nuanced moment from Darby that was like, oh wow, like why don't people do that more? I mean, it just like made the sleeper feel that much more like holy smokes, like he's not only choking him out here, but he's really cutting off his oxygen flow. I liked that, and I felt like Darby had his moments where you got to see, all right, this kid has a lot of guts, like it was a really compelling story for him. And I feel like there's a lot more down the road for Darby as somebody who's been trying to get you to join the Darby Express. I feel like although he's no longer champion, there's a lot of compelling stories down the road for Darby. And I feel like his character is very unique in the landscape of professional wrestling. And I think a lot of that goes to him not feeling like he needs to be dominant. There's something about that, like a guy who's willing to make his opponents look great in his matches. And I know that can wear thin sometimes. We've talked about it, the 90-10 formula of a Darby match where 90% offense against him and he wins with the 10% at the end. But I think that can be really a compelling character device. And when you start to segue him into his next feud against the Scorpio Sky, against an Ethan Page, I mean, that could go a long way in helping establish those guys as bona fide threats. And I think that I'm excited to see where that goes. But I know that all of us on Team Dynamite Download are incredibly excited to see where Miro goes from here, where the TNT title goes from here. And from what we saw at the end of Dynamite SPD, you just have to be you have to be like just happy as a clam, happy as a pig in shit,
all
they say.
for it. I don't want this, I keep talking about rush, but I'm loving seeing Lance Archer, almost be the last face you see on Dynamite going off into the sunset. But this feud will be so great, but I don't want it rushed, man. I want Miro to get, a couple weeks, couple months of just squashing the hint of this. Maybe Lance just go through some bodies first and then eventually, the head. If you rush this to something like Double or Nothing, I want more of a build personally. But of course, anytime those two get in the ring, whether it be next week or the following week, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. But I'm not ready for Lance to take a clean L to Miro. These are two main event guys, and this is it would be a main event match, and it could be too soon, but it could be a title change type of scenario, or it should be, in my opinion. Like ultimately a Lance Archer dethroning a Miro. So I'm not in no rush wanting to rush this, but it was a lot of fun to see for sure. And Miro's performance, earned a unanimous top performer of the night from us here, man. I mean, there's you can't argue this at all.
No.
You cannot. This is the Miro we've been dying to see. This is the Miro we know and we wanted since day one. He came in with a bang and then fizzled off. And then he had another bang, then fizzled off, and then fizzle. He had an awesome, that Arcade Anarchy match was pretty entertaining. It's hard to win versus three guys, as we saw Lance Archer get taken down by the Elite and Kenny Omega and all that. So both are two huge hosses, but Miro finally stood tall with gold around his waist, and deservedly so. And this will be one of the, he's going to hold that title, and he'll probably be one of the best champs so far.
I think everybody sees it, right? I mean, there are a lot of people who were on your side with like, okay, Miro needs to dominate this match. Right. Miro needs to win in convincing fashion. And Miro needs to be a champion that wrecks people for a while.
For sure.
Especially coming fresh off the heels of a Darby championship reign where it was quite the opposite, right? Darby snuck out a lot of wins. He was
true.
The Darby formula where he was losing most of the matches and he would come back and through his craftiness, through his smarts, through his guts, he would find a way to win. This would be a nice way to juxtapose that former champion versus a new one who is dominant and emerges from the ashes, like you talked about, almost a joke where he was the best man and kind of a side character to Kip Sabian at one point. Like, how weird is that to say? But
True.
to have this dude then just go on an absolute wrecking ball massacre of the AEW, and it would be fitting because, and it would be a nice touch, I think, for AEW, because Kenny's clearly playing that cowardly heel champion, right? Like Kenny, although we love Kenny and we know if you put Kenny in the ring week after week after week, we'd be getting an absolute treat, and it would be unbelievable. But you could tell they're allowing Kenny to play that cowardly heel, keeping him out of the ring a ton, like having him not have those singles defenses a lot, allowing Miro to get on TV and be a dominant champion week after week after week would give us some really compelling television. So I really think that that's a nice thing that AEW has in their back pocket now.
For sure.
Miro versus the Murder Hawk, dude, like that match could be one of the more fun Hoss battles that we could have in AEW. I mean, if you could pick any two guys to go head to head with as far as like monsters that are badasses and fun to watch, that's it right there, man. I know. I mean that pits your guy Lance Archer against Bonds' guy Miro. I'm in the middle here, just saying, give me more, give me all that you can give. I love it all.
Me more.
Maybe, maybe the big guy comes, but I think.